You're an American. You love the Australian V8 Supercar Series. You want to imagine what it would be like if the Australian V8 Supercar Series raced right here in the United States for one weekend, maybe 2 weekends. How would it all play out, and would it ever happen? I'm John Marine, and you're watching John Marine Tube. Subscribe, comment, friend, rate, but don't hate. And to all the people at the Australian Motorsport Forums, or AMF, I say hello to you from here in Houston, Texas. Now, there's a number of talking points that I would have about hosting an American Australian V8 Supercar weekend. So this would be a chance to talk about what I think would happen and where I think the V8 Supercar Series would race if they did hold a race or two here in the United States. Now, more than likely, in terms of racing venues, it's probably going to have to be an event in California or maybe Oregon. And 3 tracks that come to mind are Laguna Seca in Monterey, California, Infineon Raceway, formerly known as Sears Point, in Sonoma, California, and Portland International Raceway in Portland, Oregon. I'm mentioning those tracks because I'm kind of concerned that travel costs would be a concern. But if they really wanted to explore the United States, I named a bunch of venues in my blog or in a future blog entry, but some of the many venues I wouldn't mind seeing these cars race at would be tracks like Miller Motorsports Park in Tooele, Utah, Barber Motorsports Park in Leeds, Alabama, Sebring International Raceway in Sebring, Florida, Braselton, Georgia's Road Atlanta, Virginia International Raceway in Danville, Virginia, Lime Rock Park in Lakeview, Connecticut, Watkins Glen International in Watkins Glen, New York, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. I mean, there's a bunch of tracks that I would name, but you know, if they really wanted to explore the United States, we have a great number of tracks that would be great to see these kinds of cars compete at. An outside chance would probably be at a street course. Like, let's say that, you know, they had a little one-off race at Long Beach, for example. The second aspect of this thing is, how do you market and hype this deal? Because the most important thing is that if you're going to see a kind of race like this in the United States, then you're going to want to know more about it. So how do you build up the hype and how do you market this kind of deal? Then the next area of concern would be properly, and this is most important to me, educating newcomers. Because chances are you may see people who may never heard of the series before, don't know anything about the series history, don't know anything about the cars or the stars that race in the series. So obviously you're going to want to have something to really educate the public and the general public about the V8 Supercar Series. And then how do you make it all work? To me, I think this would have to be on Speed Channel. And if I had to pick, you know, an announcing crew or something, it would have to be a combination of the crew that calls the races up for 7 Sports or whatever, or Channel 7 in Australia. And I'm pretty sure that maybe the most likely candidate to, you know, be the play-by-play person would be former V8 Supercar commentator and one of my personal favorite announcers besides Bob Versa, Lee Diffie. Now, the next thing you want to ask about the race itself is, do you have a single race or multi-race format? Usually you have multiple races. Like with the V8 Supercar weekend at Sydney's Olympic Park, you had 2 different races. And so I probably figured that it would probably be a multi-race event unless they want to have a dedicated endurance here in the United States. Like maybe let's say that they have about maybe a 2, 3, 4 race weekend at Infineon Raceway, but then want to have, like, let's say maybe a 500-kilometer event at Laguna Seca. So these would be things to consider. Now, do I think that such an event would be possible and would it be successful? I think it would only be successful as long as there's a want and a demand to see the Australian V8 Supercar Series do their thing here in the United States, even for just 1 or 2 weekends. But I think that there's a lot to love about the Australian V8 Supercar Series. You have these great sounding race cars. You have this intense action. You have these brave drivers. It is just a fantastic series to watch. And I'm glad I'm finally seeing coverage of the 2009 highlights here in the United States on Speed Channel. So, would such an event happen here in the United States? You know, they are going to race at the new Yas Marina circuit next year in Abu Dhabi. So, imagine if they raced here in the United States. Where would they go? How would the weekend fill out? How would you market everything? Would it be a single race or a multiple race deal? Where do you race at? There's a whole lot of variables. And I've basically took the speculation as far as I can. It would be cool to see happen, but I don't think it's likely anytime soon. Maybe the V8 Supercar management thinks about, hey, we got fans here in America that love this series. Let's give them a race to show our appreciation. If so, epic win for us. I'm John Marine. Thank you for watching this video and take care. Love and peace, wherever you are in the world. Season's greetings from John Marine.